What's going on, Spiritualites? Welcome back for another video. In this one, we'll recap the week of January 12th, and let me just tell you, it was terrible. I took quite a few losses, but with that being said, we're just going to jump into it with our regular format. I'll talk about the week. I'll give you the stat sheet, show you how that affected some of my key statistics, go through my favorite win and favorite loss. Spoiler alert, don't have one of those. And I'll wrap it up. So let's jump right on into it. So on Monday, I took one trade on XRP and Bitcoin at the same time. Remember, I'm coming off some high confidence at this time. It really was a good week last week, so I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can really start making some big jumps here. And so I took, like I said, one trade on each coin. Bitcoin, fairly quickly within an hour, wicked me out, went above my stop loss, hovered above it, and then ended up going down to take my stop loss. We'll talk about that one later. And then the XRP trade actually ended up having a low volume. So as you can see here earlier in the day, we're moving a lot. But as we get to the later in the day, which will come up here soon, we're losing volatility. So it wasn't moving as much as I would have liked it to. So I decided just to move it to break even and to go to bed. Okay, so on Tuesday, I decided to take a trade on XRP and Solana. The problem was I was trading against the trend. And as you can see, the trend is continuing up, and it will continue up, but the whole time I'm looking for some reason for shorts. I thought maybe because the overall trend was going down, but the immediate trend was going up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming videos this week as well, what I've noticed through that and kind of my strategy going forward. So again, trying to short into this zone here, thought that maybe this could be a resistance. It ended up not being a resistance, and so I took two losses early on in the day on Solana and on XRP. Later in the night, I took an aggressive trade that maybe I shouldn't have taken or wouldn't have taken under the right emotional sense. But after taking two more losses, I'm at minus 3% about now. So it's getting kind of harder to think straight because right now I'm trying to make back what I've lost for the past 2 days. And I know it only takes one trade to do that. So I'm trying to find that perfect trade. So I get into an aggressive trade later on the day in Solana. It was going with the trend, but as you will be able to see here, the trend does get exhausted, and so it does start to kind of reverse on me. I ended up moving my stop loss to break even pretty quickly as I was going back and forth emotionally, and oh, and there's the spike, you can see it. I went back and forth emotionally on whether I should even be in the trade or not, and I need to just get out now while I could. So I ended up getting out at break even, like I said, and I can feel myself starting to get a little bit more aggressive and more emotional with my trading, so I decided to shut it down for the rest of the night. And so as you can see, example of what the trade looked like, I had hopes that it would come up to at least here to kind of break in through those highs there, but as it kept on dribbling and getting later and later into the night, went ahead and just cut it off. So that is how I ended Tuesday night. So waking up, still trying to go with the trend. So I'm seeing a downtrend, but also I know that price has been just moving up. So I think, hey, maybe this is just a break. I can have a chance, right? And I get left behind. So I take not such an aggressive trade because I'm thinking I don't need to be so aggressive today because I'm already losing. So let me take something, nice right around here as soon as I'm waking up in the morning and I get left behind. So not fun. When I get left behind, it's kind of encouraging, but also it's discouraging because I missed again. Then I go through this mental process of, do I need to be more aggressive? And so I go more aggressive, and then, as you would expect, a little bit later, right before I'm going into work on Wednesday, I decide, hey, let me try to get into a long somewhere. And so I take this one here, make sure I cover this bottom because that's where I feel like it could come back and, touch down here. And it's already past of what happened, but I ended up stopping out right here about an hour and a half into my work shift, thinking that it could blast off and away. So at this point, I'm feeling, again, discouraged. So I'm like, okay, I've lost what, 4 trades this week. So let me just take a break. And take a break I did. So Thursday and Friday, I decided just to focus on work and family and just took a break from the charts. I looked at them and put in a few ghost trades that would or would not have worked out. I don't remember because just my mind wasn't in it. And so, ending the week, as we'll flip over to our summary here from a live trading, end of the week with 1, 2, 3, 4 losses and 3 break evens for a total of 7 trades. So 7 trades, 6 trades, that's around how many trades I'm looking to take, especially with doing this part-time. So I am happy about that. However, resulting in a net loss of almost 4%. Yeah, that kind of makes me feel a little bit down. But not too down, because with that being said, we're still positive. After week 7, technically, I'm still a profitable trader. And there's always next week. So while my win rate took a major dump, it went from, I think I was almost at over 22%, something like that. And now here we are back under 20%. So it did take a major L on the win rate. Average multiple, still positive because, again, our total is positive, right? So I think I need to correct myself. I put plus 6%, but I went back and redid the formula for this one here, and so it was about 5.4. But we're rounding up, so 6% it is. In this case here, week 7, got to round up too, so in this case down. Negative 4% on the week about. And again, still positive, still confident. I feel like I know exactly where I went wrong trading against the trend, taking too much of a zoomed out perspective, which again we'll talk about some more as I show you some of my back testing for this week as well. And, just making sure that I stay the course. I'm not changing anything about the strategy, still feel confident about the strategy, and we'll just keep moving forward. These weeks are going to happen, and it just is what it is. So with that being said, this would usually be the section of my favorite win. I thought about doing maybe one of the ghost trades that I took for my favorite win, but nah, it's not worth it. So I'll save it for an actual win, and when I have multiple to choose from, which hopefully will be next week. So with that, let's move on to the favorite loss. My favorite loss comes from my Bitcoin trade. Okay, here it is. So I saw price trending up, up, up. Let's get on the screen. Trending up here, and wanted to wait for a break. I got the break that I was looking for. Came back up, got in on the second break here. Not sure what happened here. I think I might have been away from the chart at the time, but got in somewhere around here. And so I decided, hey, let's take this as my high rather than something like here or even here. Because if I move this up to here, now targeting this low here only results in a 1.61. So rather than moving my entry up higher, because I'm getting caught up in the downward movement here, not thinking that it will come back over here, I decided to move my stop loss above here. Not the best idea, but also in the moment, you're seeing price dump on you. You're thinking you have a good idea. I saw this and I knew I was good. And then so I thought maybe if it did come up and wick here, I wouldn't necessarily need to put my stop loss to break even. So as price continued to break above me, I thought, okay, it'll play up here. Maybe it'll come back down. As you can see, it did not. Like I said earlier, hovered above my stop loss and then made its way back down to my take profit line. So my favorite loss because it did end up doing what I thought it was going to do. And those are the mistakes that I can change. Right? I know, hey, even though you do see this, maybe not get caught up. Even if it does lead to downward into your take profit, there's always another trade. So finding that balance of when to be aggressive and when to be conservative is really what is going to move me into this next section, which is my systems and improvements. So that's what I'm looking to do. Trying to figure out when to be, got to get in now versus let's wait on this to see what develops. I also need to look at zooming out. I think a lot of the times I'm waiting hours for these moves to happen, and then I get in, and I have to wait hours for these moves to develop. And so that's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take trades that will offer some kind of quick movement. I need to get in at more prime opportunities where I know some quick movement, or I expect some quick movement to happen. Maybe that means zooming in a little bit more and taking a closer look at some of the internal structure. That's what I'm going to try to improve on this week. And moving into the mental, psychological portion, as I sum up this week, I'd say mentally it was a pretty rough week. Again, going through things with your child is always a little bit difficult. So even though I did have, a lot of time to myself to be able to do those, my mind was elsewhere. Also some other personal things this week going on. So my mind wasn't in it. And I think that this coming week is going to offer me maybe a little bit of relief in terms of stress, in terms of having to mentally be somewhere else and figure out other things. And, life was lifing, it happens. So still confident in the strategy, not really seeing any reason to change it. I think the piece that needs to change is me. So next week's focus is really going to be on establishing some minimums. Even though your mental's somewhere else, there's always something that I could be doing. So focus on, hey, I know at least I've got to get this done today. Whether I'm actively live trading, whether I'm supposed to chart for so-and-so minutes, I'm going to figure out something that works for me and establish that and make sure that I can at least stick to that every day so that I'm staying in the game. And I think here this week, taking off Thursday and Friday, kind of got me a little bit messed up. My confidence is off. So looking forward to resetting this next week and having a good trading week overall and being able to show some success for you on the next weekly recap. And with that being said, please keep in mind this is not financial advice. It is for educational purposes only. Before you begin investing and or trading your hard-earned money, consider consulting a financial advisor. And just remember, this is the journey, not the highlight reel. Trade smart, live free.